All right, we're back with Book Club, Chapter 3. I know it's been a minute, but this kind of dives deeper into the mentality that if you failed, you are a failure mentality, and how that's negative towards your growth to becoming successful. And it gives a lot of examples about, people who have failed in the past, and they just keep trying and keep trying and keep trying until they succeed it, and ultimately that's the mindset that you have to have. But it kind of talks about 7 abilities that's needed to have that mindset. Achievers reject rejection. So that's obviously, what it sounds like. When you get rejected, you move on from it and you continue from it and you don't give up. You just keep going, right? Achievers see failure as temporary. So failure is a one-time event. We talked about that, I think, the last 2 chapters now. It's not something that is consistent throughout your life. One thing doesn't define you. If you fail once, you just got to keep going because it happened, and it doesn't have anything to do with the future. Achievers see failure as isolated incidents. So we just talked about that, kind of the same thing. Achievers keep expectations realistic. Now, this isn't talking about setting realistic goals. This is talking about if you do have a big goal, you need to be realistic in it, that you're going to fail on the way there. There's going to be hardships on the way there, and you need to keep pushing through them. So don't think, it gives the example of climbing Mount Everest versus taking a stroll in your neighborhood. Taking a walk in your neighborhood is going to be a lot easier than climbing Mount Everest. But if you look at those 2 things the same, as in, I'm going to go take a walk in my neighborhood and not fail, that's a good reality. But thinking that you're going to go on Mount Everest and not have any hardships is a pretty stupid approach. So keeping your ideas realistic about what's actually the path to achieving what you want. Achievers focus on strengths. This one, honestly, I'm a little bit confused on, because this talks about, don't just focus on your weakness, because that's going to get you down. Focus on your strengths and what you do well, which I agree with. We need to know what we do well to succeed. But at the same time, a lot of our weaknesses are the reason that we fail, and so we need to focus on our weaknesses as well. It says if a weakness is a matter of character, it needs much attention. Focus on it until you shore it up. Otherwise, the best bet for failing forward is developing and maximizing your strengths. So I agree with them that we need to look at our weaknesses and fix them, but I don't know if the best bet for failing forward is developing and maximizing our strengths. Because I look at it through a wrestling perspective, and it's like, if I'm really, really good at a high crotch, that's great. I should know that, that's in my back pocket. But if my single leg needs a little work, I should work on it, because that's the way I attack the opposite side of the body. So even though it's a weakness, I should work on it and shore it up. And it does say that a little bit, but I don't know. That one I'm a little on edge about. Achievers vary approaches to achievements. This is talking about when you fail and stuff like that. Don't be afraid to change how you're doing things. Don't be afraid to switch it up and try new things, and keep trying those things until you find one that works. I feel like, the definition of insanity is a good one for that. Is, the definition of sanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same results, when we need to change it up. And it doesn't have to be drastic changes. Maybe it's small, little, tiny changes that make a big difference. Or maybe it is a big change, and we got to completely start heading in the opposite direction. And maybe that's the case, but I would say that's case by case, but we can't be afraid of change. And achievers bounce back. So we fail, we bounce back, we keep going, we don't give up. I think that's an important one. To be successful, you need that. You need to be able to get knocked down and get back up. So then it talks about Rudy. I think a lot of people have probably seen that football movie. I guess the actual story is a little different, but it talks about how he wasn't very smart in high school. He wasn't a very good football player. Obviously, he was like 5'7" and 100 and some odd pounds. And so it's like, that's not the case for probably being a good football player. But he worked his butt off, ended up playing a couple plays. And it's like, he didn't achieve high success in football, right? He didn't make the NFL or anything like that. But his goal was to play a couple plays in Notre Dame, and he did that. So the last thing it leaves you with at the end of the chapter is remove the you from failure. So you aren't a failure, right? You failed at the thing you tried, but that doesn't make you a failure. Just keep going and moving forward and keep looking to get better. Next chapter is about fear and overcoming fear and how you can get over that and stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next time.